Okay. Hope the light ain't blinding anybody, but let's get to work. Let's get to work, guys. Whoever's in the chat, audio, visual, help me out. Make sure I'm good. I need the video quality to be excellent. So, guys, just let me know. We got a few things to talk about. Appreciate it. Go ahead and hit that like button now that you in here. A little work been done. No work's been done. You see the bikes are in here chilling. The Road King has been out all weekend yet again. The Road Glide has come out one time this weekend. So, yeah, we got a lot to talk about. It's going to be an interesting conversation if I get enough people in the chat today, because I don't want to waste this one. I know it's going to be taken after I put it out there, but I want this to be a good one. So you guys be sure to ask questions, chime in. Be all right. We'll be all right with this one. All right, we get more guys in. If you got your questions, there's always a Q&A on Sundays with me. Get your questions in, even if it's off topic, even if it's not any of the videos that I put out. Still ask the question. Killer in the house. Okay, Killer. I hope you show up to Daytona Bike Fest in March. And I ain't talking about the race. Just come hang out and have some fun and enjoy motorcycles. Don't forget, man, that's the first rally of the year. I'm trying to put an event together. If I can't, then it's just a hangout and I go to other people's events. So I might try to elbow and bogart me a spot out there this year, but we'll see what happens. We got 15 people in the chat. 21, okay, numbers are going up. Good. I'm going to wait till we get a few more people in. Whenever I notice something, man, I gotta touch it. I gotta touch the bike. Let me see if you guys can see. Yeah, you guys can see. All right. I want some of the race guys, I want some of the long distance guys to be on the chat tonight. So if you are, chime in on the conversation tonight, man. I'm reading. I always read all the comments, so just make sure you chime in, guys, because Anthony Fresquez. Well, the oil has to get out somewhere. If you can't relieve the pressure from the oil, it will come out your filter, guys. So that's why a lot of us run the trash transmission vent. You run as many vents as you can on these bikes. I actually run another vent that was kind of made with a catch can. So after the breathers and the intake, the trash vented trans cover, you get the dipstick cover as well, the dipstick vent as well. You try and vent these motors as much as possible, but we're going to get into that. I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought it up. So the topic of conversation, guys, just beware. I'm not going to be the only guy that said this. What horsepower do you think, okay, is too much for the street? Now, it's not just for the street. It's for what's the appropriate number? Okay, what should you be running for the everyday rider, for the long distance rider, and then the racer? I want to know what you guys think, and then I'm going to give you my opinion on what I think and what I've seen out there and what works and what doesn't really work. Because I know a lot of guys want to know. I mean, that's just one of those things, but it wouldn't make a good video because I can't be interactive with you guys. So I said, you know what? I'm not going to make a video out of it. Now, again, I can guarantee you somebody's going to take this conversation and try to make it into their own video without even knowing, and they're going to probably just regurgitate what I'm saying. So we're going to get this out there and we're going to have some fun with this conversation. But let me keep going through all the comments, guys. I got to say what's up to everybody. Drake said a good all around. Guys, whenever I come on live, I always check my audio and my visual. Nobody can stand a crappy audio or visual, and audio more than visual. You can kind of get past the visual a little bit, but the audio, nobody can get past it, and they will be out of here. Don't forget, guys, we will have the vultures in the chat. All the vultures stand up, say what's up. So whenever you guys, let me scoot up a little bit, and whenever you guys know that the vultures are in the building, just say what's up to them, because they're lurking, guys. I promise, they're lurking. Gordy Smith, what's going on? Wepa, CVO, what's going on, brother? Michael White, what's a good all-around touring tire that you would recommend for all weathers? I don't recommend tires, but I can tell you what works for the type of riding I do. Remember, guys, I'm not a long-distance rider. Couple of hours, I'm good. When I say long-distance riders, I'm talking about in miles. I'm talking about some guy that's going to take him a week to get through a trip and probably a week to get back. That's not my style. So I go for some soft rubber, something that's grippy, something that I know is going to be not going to let me down. I can't take a chance on a touring tire, and that touring tire doesn't handle the power that these bikes produce. I hate to just always spin the tire on these bikes. Now, my first setup on bipolar, the 128 would burn the tire, would rip the tire. Even the stage 2 on bipolar would rip the tire. It was just kind of, it started, you know, at first it's like a good show, and then it's like, okay, it's annoying. You know what I mean? Because every time you're trying to snatch the bike and trying to get it to move, it just burns and boils the tire. So no, can't give you any information on that. But the tires that I would say would be Michelin's. Really doesn't matter which Michelin. Most of the time they will come over with a soft tire. And the Metzler, the Cruise Techs as well. I see a lot of guys running who don't want to run a drag tire like I have on both the backs of these bikes, and they get away with it. You know, it just all depends on how you ride and how you like to handle the curves. Remember, when those guys do the twisties, I can guarantee you they're using something like a Cruise Tech. I'm going to keep going. Don't forget, we still got the topic of conversation. Told you guys why they blow so much oil into the intake, because they just have nowhere else to blow it. What up, bro? On live, the cruise ship, but we here. All right, that one guy. Rob Bays, does it take a governor off to hurt an M8 engine? Does taking the governor off hurt an M8 engine? Absolutely not. I will post I'll post a short of a guy running his bike from the shop. I'm not gonna give out any names. I already got his permission, so I'll put that up there, and you tell me what you think. Give me a couple of days and I'll put it up. Riding Daytona from North Virginia for Bike Week 2025. Good deal. If you're a YouTuber, kind of say something in the chat too. Not the vultures, you know, I know they ain't gonna say nothing, but anybody else, and you're beginning YouTube or you already have a channel, you know, say something in the chat that, you know, the guys will know that you do YouTube as well. I always like for other people to see, you know, other people's YouTube to get some type of direction. And a lot of the times I'll see a lot of my direction in other YouTube guys' videos. Motor City 2 Up, what's happening, brother? Speaking of 2 Up, that bike's a 2 Up bike. Yeah, right. Wepa said it would be his third time coming down to Daytona. 150 every day for me. Roadglide Freak 28. Okay. Christopher Ashley, what's up, brother? I'm glad you're in here. Now we're about to start this conversation. The more better, the more Scrabble button for. All right. Oh, okay. Gordy says he lives in Daytona, so it ain't much of a ride for him. So let me put the phone down and let me get into it. What is a good horsepower? And I'm gonna start with the everyday daily riding guy. If you want to have fun with a bike, I don't think there is a spot that you can say, oh, this is the ultimate horsepower number that everybody needs to reach. But I do feel like the more power you have, the more you want to ride the bike, the more you're happy with the bike. So a lot of guys can come out and they can run a stage 2. Sometimes the stage 2s just don't last as long because they run out of fun. I mean, basically that's what it is. Once you guys start saying, all right, I've seen what this bike can do. It doesn't rattle me anymore. It doesn't scare me. Now it's time to move on. That's anywhere between 100, 120 horsepower. I'm going to give it that. That's that stage 1 going into a basic stage 2. That's the daily rider. That guy doesn't have any problems with the bike. Hits the button and goes. There's really no failure anywhere with the stage 2. Now, along with, aside from letting a bike run for 20 minutes, just idling and it burning itself down, there's really no way to mess up your stage 1s and stage 2s, especially if you're getting those bikes tuned properly and getting, you know, just the right person to put your stage 2 cam in. I've seen people put in, they put the cam in, but they might have the lifter cuffs. There's a little washer on the inside, and they might mess it up. Might have it upside down, now spewing oil out as soon as they start to ride, and they don't know where the oil's coming from. So you can't mess it up, but once you have a good stage 1, stage 2, the everyday rider guy is usually happy. Now let me go to the weekend warrior, okay? And I'm gonna give you guys a chance to chime in a second. So your weekend warrior, he's gonna do a big bore kit. If he doesn't have a little hot stage 2 like we put in both these bikes, I did run hot stage 2s. What I mean by that, I'm using a real good full exhaust system that's usually for a big bore kit, a bigger air cleaner that's usually for a big bore kit, and an aggressive cam that you can also use in a big bore kit. We're just not doing a big bore, and I always run E85 in both bikes. Don't forget, guys, I can run 93 pump gas in both bikes as well, but I like the smell of the corn when I park it in the garage and the extra crispy throttle that it has when I run the E85. So if we're separating from the stage 2s to the stage 3s, now you're looking at about 30 more horsepower. Okay, 30 more horsepower probably, and probably about 20 foot-pound of torque more on average. I'm gonna say it that way, just an average. Let's say you had a 124 kit or 128. Between the two of those, there's usually only 5 horsepower difference, depending on who your builder is. Now your 124s with heads and complete and everything done, that's the guy I say that's the weekend warrior. He's gonna do the 128, the 131, or the 124, and even the 130 that's, you know, not everybody knows too much about. But those bikes, the 128, the 124, the 131, 150 to 160 horsepower range. 150 to 155 on the torque side. Now that's a good weekend warrior, can kind of get down with that bike if he wants to. And that bike can still be reliable depending on the builder. I'm gonna keep emphasizing that. Now, is that too much horsepower for a guy to ride on the street? My personal opinion, I think not. And I say that because most guys who do big bore kits will take care of their bikes. They will maintenance their bikes good, because it's a pretty penny to throw something out there like that and then just not change the oil for months, or hear something tapping, or be riding a bike on the limiter and, you know, just not really caring too much for the motor or the bike. Now, unless you're one of those stunner guys and have the chip set real low so you can just bang on the rev limiter at 5,000 RPM, that's a whole nother story, but that's those guys. But for your weekend warrior, he'll be out there punching it every now and then. He's aggressive when he gets on the highway, and he likes to cruise, and he likes to get miles in. So I've seen guys, and I can attest to it, that you can put a lot of miles on a big bore kit. Is there a limit to the horsepower? Yes and no. Okay, yes and no. I say yes because once you start going big, okay, more compression, bigger crank, the heads are so much bigger that, you know, you have to make sure you don't miss shifts. You know, that's when it becomes, okay, now that bike is made for more of racing. That's more of a racing setup. It can ride probably anywhere you want it to go, but you have to be careful. It will heat up much quicker. The walls on the cylinders are usually a little bit thinner when you're going big bore, when you're going big bore, all right? Big bore, just not big bore, just big bore. So when you do the 124, 128, that's your middleweight, that's your middle class guys. That's the guys, they race each other. I think they even have the most competition among those guys. And I'm not just talking about drag racing, I'm talking about with everything. Those guys are the most competitive guys and the ones that you'll see on the bikes the most. Yes, I think the middleweight, the middle class guys are the ones that are on the bikes the most. They're taking trips, they're taking miles. It's just a way more fun bike to ride. Trust me when I tell you. So if you're debating it, if you want to have fun like the rest of the guys, big bore kit in your future. Now, let's go into the race guys, the big guys, okay? Can those bikes be ridden on the street? Yes. Is it comfortable? No. This bike is very jumpy. I'll say it like that. The clutch is very jumpy. You gotta be easy with the bike. I don't want to say easy. You gotta be a little bit more aggressive with this bike than easy. It's not as tamed. Once you get the clutch out and once you're riding, it's okay. But how the bike's set up is for getting the clutch out quickly and trying to get maximum horsepower out of the bike. So they run a little harder and they're just more aggressive street riding. Some people like it. I got two bikes because I knew if I didn't like, I have my fallback bike to kind of like back me up. I don't need to pull this bike out. Now, is this fun? Is this bike fun? Yes, it's very fun, but at the same time, you gotta, in the back of your mind, you're gonna say, I got a lot of money dumped into that bike. And it makes you buy a second bike. I put that out there as well. It's so much fun that sometimes you get carried away with these bikes. You don't keep up on them because you'll figure, maybe I won't ride this bike but once a month, right? Let's just say I ride it once a month, but if all I'm doing is riding once a month for an hour or two, when am I gonna keep the maintenance up? When am I gonna remember to go back and say, let's maintenance this bike because I've only ridden it for 3 hours, but it's been a total of 5 months. You know, that's something to worry about and something to keep in mind. If it's your only bike and a race bike, this bike to me is considered a race bike with manners. Okay, it's a race bike with manners. I can ride this bike from here to Daytona. I can do all those things. Is the gas mileage great? Hell no. Is the bike comfortable to ride? Yes. That's the the switcheroo on you. The bike is comfortable. The bike can chill. But when you have to start getting off the throttle and getting back on the throttle, that bike just wants to go. Do you always want to ride like that? No. If you're used to riding bikes like that, then you will have no issue. Now, I'm gonna stop right there. I'm gonna give you answers to you guys' questions about the different setups. So if you got questions and you think you're going to go out and get yourself a stage 2 or your stage 3 and not your stage 4 and just different questions like that, ask now or forever hold your peace, okay? I see we got a lot of people in the chat. Guys, go and subscribe. Well, you already subscribed. Like this chat if you're in here, guys. I can see the likes, so go ahead and hit the like button. Let's keep this chat going. Well, let's keep this live going. I'm telling you again, I said it earlier in the live, somebody's gonna try and steal this exact idea. And if these guys had knowledge on it, I would say, hey, take some advice from so-and-so and so-and-so. Yeah, they make a lot of sense. But the fact that I know a lot of those guys don't have the experience with all different applications and being able to ride all the different applications hard. And I'm not talking about just every weekend we're just trying to do 110 miles an hour. Nah, that ain't riding hard. Shifting gears early, that ain't riding hard, guys. I'm talking about we putting these bikes on the limits. I'm shifting, no exaggeration, almost 7,000 RPMs, you know what I mean? And I'm not talking about 6,400 and 6,500. No. Keep going, you know what I mean? So I'm gonna get out there and make sure this bike stretches his legs every time I get on it. This bike, I really don't do that, but I can. This bike is extremely, not fast. This bike is extremely quick, okay? So guys, go ahead and throw your questions out there. I'll go over it again, especially for the guys that are just getting in the live. and we'll talk about it some more. So someone just asked, when is the next group ride? It's coming. It's probably going to be towards the end of December. I think that's the best time to do it because the weather's going to be good. I'd rather cool weather than hot weather, just my preference. And I think this one is going to be on the West Coast. Yeah, going to be on the West Coast. Probably the same amount of time of a ride, hour, 2 hours, hour and a half, somewhere in there. Hang out, come right back home, beat daylight. I currently got a 23 Street Glide ST stock, looking to make it faster but reliable and fun. Any recommendations on what stage? Michael White, I don't know where you're from, and I don't know how much power you're looking for out of your bike. That would kind of help me push you in the right direction. The shop, I always back AllAmericanCycles. So if you are asking me on top of that, if you say, hey, can AllAmericanCycles help me? I'll point you in the right direction on which route to take as well. Let me grab my remote control. Guys, right back. I was gonna make a bunch of noise, guys. So let me know what you're thinking and we can go from there. All the vultures and all the guys that are hiding in the background say hi. I appreciate it when you do. I know you guys are lurking. I know you like the lives, and I appreciate you for watching, joining. Just go ahead and hit the like button as well, like everybody else, okay? Looking to keep my 22 CVO a daily rider, reliable, but make it home exciting. I stay around 35 to 4,500 RPMs. Frank, hi. All right. We all want reliable, guys. We all want reliable. Nobody wants to go out there and hit the button and hear a bunch of loose change in an engine. That's not the thing that we're going for. Okay, the questions are coming in. Nobody wants to hear a bunch of loose change in their motors. I've always heard 124s, 128s are the most reliable big bore kit you can do. Always heard it. And I believe the 130s are just as reliable. There's not that much of a difference with the boring, in my opinion. But I would not want to steer you in the wrong direction to have you do something twice. Most people will say, hey, I'm going to do a stage 3. Well, the stage 3 is a big bore kit without the heads. Okay, it's everything else but just a big bore kit without the heads. And I think you're missing out on a lot of power there. If you don't do heads, I don't really think you run the same cam as if you ran heads on a bike. So why not try to get the most out of it so you can not have to worry about, did I do it right? Do I need to go back and try and go back in to get more power? Nobody wants to do that. Nobody wants their bike to be down again to get that extra power. All right, looking again. Let's see what we got. Who else we got? All right, now the questions are in. Ballpark, how much money will it take to make a 170 horsepower, 23.5 CVO VVT? I couldn't tell you. I can't tell you price, but I can guarantee you it's going to be probably the same as getting any other 170 horsepower bike. It all depends on the shop you go to. I've seen a lot of these shops charge way more than, a shop that isn't as popular. You know what I mean? Does it make them any better? Absolutely not. Does it make them any more reliable? Absolutely not. You just got to know who you're going to and make sure it's been done before, and then say, okay, you know what, I can go with this company. But I would say, just my opinion, north of 12,000. So somewhere in there, 12 to 15 to 17. Remember, you're not just getting a motor build. Okay, you're getting exhaust, you're getting air cleaner. I'm gonna guess and say you're gonna do chain drive, you're gonna do a compensator, upgrade your clutch. That's a lot. All those things add up. Oil cooler, all those things. So I'll come back to you if you got another question. It says I have a 128 big bore kit on my street glide and extras that makes my street glide special fast. But once I hit 130, my street glide gets a death wobble, and and this is a street glide thing. I've noticed it more on a street glide than any other bike. I'll say it that way. And I believe that, you know, you can take a stock bike and I don't know if it's the fender, the windshield, or just the way that that bike takes on wind, which I wouldn't think it was the fairing, but it could be. It goes into a wobble. And if it's not a bad wobble, it's a boat drifting style of a wobble. And I hate them both. But 130, you got to expect that, you know, you're doing something that that bike's not built to do. You don't have the aerodynamics on that bike. And depending on what year that bike is, I would go in and tighten up the neck bearing. I mean, crank it down really good. I've heard that that works a lot. Moving on to the next question, guys. I'm always going to take care of you guys, all right? Don't forget to like. Go back and like. I've told you guys I'm answering these questions, and I'll repeat. The topic of conversation today, how much horsepower is enough? And I'm talking about for the daily rider guy, the weekend warrior guy, and the racer, okay? And now, when we get up in big horsepower, what's too much for the street? Is there a such thing that's too much for the street? I don't believe so. I believe if they build a turbo bike and it pushes out 200 horsepower, is that too much for the street? Or we got another all motor bike that's 200 horsepower. Is that too much for the street? Because a 200 horsepower all motor bike is a totally different ride than a turbo bike with just a basic bolt-on kit that just pumps up the power. It's a totally different ride. They have to wait for the power. That all motor bike, that power is there and it's gonna stay there. Every shift you make, it's not losing, it's not falling out of power and then coming back. It's gonna be a handful of a ride. So yeah, you can ride on the street, but I won't say go out there and do death-defying stunts on it either. So let's go. How much maintenance required with the chain versus a belt? Obviously, it depends on the bike, on the time on the bike. But after breaking a belt at 4,000 miles, I'm leaning that way after stage 2 for sure. Kevin from Leesburg. Kevin, that's a good question. I went over this same conversation in a live a couple weeks ago. I have a buddy. Bone stock bike. He likes to dry hop the bike. If you guys don't know what dry hopping the bike is, it's where you're rolling, you dump the clutch and smack the gas and the back tire dry hops, okay? With his bike, with his speakers and sound system, made that bike dead hook, pop the belt. He was gonna go back with a belt. And I said, look, it doesn't make sense because I know how you ride. Even if you kept this bike bone stock, which he didn't, even if you kept the bike bone stock, the same thing would happen. Just your luck, the bike would, the tire would bite and you would break another belt. I don't care how new the belt is because the belt on that bike was fairly new. So after breaking it, he doesn't know anything about the maintenance. Once it starts to make noise and once it looks gunky, remember the first time you clean it, you're gonna spray it, it's going to throw and sling a little stuff every now in the beginning. You're gonna wipe it back down. It should be fine. Depending on how much you ride, how often on the throttle you are, is how the chain is going to loosen up and need more maintenance. I would never tell you that after a ride in the rain or running through water to not maintenance your chain, if you understand what I'm saying. Now it's time to go ahead and spray it, roll the bike, keep spraying it, wipe it back down, take care of your chain. Once it starts to get tight and loose spots in it, if you don't know what those are, just Google it. Tight, loose spots, that chain has to go. Check your sprockets. All right, moving on. Thinking of a Zippers 128. All right, I mean, if you're in that area, I don't know how good their 128 kits are. I don't just go by horsepower, guys. Horsepower doesn't mean a lot when you can see the difference in two bikes when they separate. And I've seen it happen a few times. One guy says he has such and such horsepower, and this guy says he has such and such horsepower. And when they race, it doesn't look like that. Now, could this guy be lying? Possibly. Could this other guy be lying? Yeah, possibly. So a lot of the times the horsepower doesn't matter, but take it with a grain of salt. All right. Matt Moonshiner 120R Bishop. I see many people chasing a number. The question is, how do you ride and what confidence do you have in the parts or your build? Good comeback there. And you can only be as confident as your tuner is or your builder is, you know, and hopefully they're one and the same. Everything I've done to this bike internally, like same piston company, you know, compensator company, same chain drive, is all from this bike as well. Guys, I mean that it was tried and true on this bike, so yes, I can just buy it twice and put it on this bike and I'm okay with it. Other people might steer you in a different direction because they might say, oh, well, the O-rings are better on this chain. And maybe the pistons give you a little bit more compression, well, not compression, but are a little harder or give you a little bit more dome on this piston. So we like to use this. So I can't say, you know, take this guy's advice or this guy's advice or anything like that. But you can only say to yourself, let me check this guy's reputation. You know what I mean? That's how you check your build quality. Okay? You could drop a bike off and pick it up the next week. You don't know anything about this guy, and in 3 months it's rattling. You know what I mean? So that's kind of like what Matt was just saying, which is 100% correct. And if you're one of those guys who aren't mechanically inclined, go to someone who knows what they're doing. There's some guys out there that can build bikes in their sleep, but go to somebody who is going to take care of you. DHJ, hey brother, it's your boy from down under. What's happening in Australia? I'm on a lowrider ST, 130 horsepower, 140 foot-pound of torque, and it heaps, and it should on that lowrider. Still stop bottom man, I love this amount, but I love trying to hold on to your All right, so now that we're talking about going fast, you know, that's always my, I like talking about it. 130 horsepower, 140 foot-pound of torque on a lowrider ST is gonna be quick. It's a smaller bike, it's a lighter bike. I like to say, you know, the fairing versus no fairing type situation. Well, that is on the level of probably something like this. I told you guys this has 170 horsepower. That bike has 130. It won't, my bike won't walk away. I can tell you that. When you put a good combination like that together, you don't need to go super big or super crazy. The heavier bikes, you got to go a little bit heavier. You got a little bit bigger. Mike Anderson, what's going on, brother? DSJ said he never had a death wobble on a soft tail. You probably didn't because the wind. I've never had a death wobble on my Road King. Never even come close. The bike shoots straight. I think it's the fairing bikes more than anything, guys. The biggest thing with a high horsepower bike is having a soft compound tire. It's a must or it's a waste of power. Kenneth Smith, you are absolutely right. You guys know I only run one type of tire on the back of both my bikes. And that's because I feel like, what am I sitting up here using? What am I building a bike for with power if every time I slap the gas, it just spins out of control and then I'm not good to play with. You know what I mean? I'm not having fun. So let me tell you something I learned a long time ago. You know, and this goes for racing guys. I'd rather wheelie than spin. Okay, and the point of that is, if you spin, you're not moving, you're not going forward. If I wheelie, I'm still going forward and I can control it. Before it comes down, I'm back full throttle, and then I can shift my gear. I'm still going. I've had it happen to me 100 times. You guys seen this bike in a stage 2 wheelie on me twice, and it still did pretty decent. This bike, it doesn't really wheelie on me that much, honestly. I'm trying to think if I ever had a wheelie out of it. I mean, yes, I've had stupid little dinky wheelies, but nothing that would kind of like throw me out of a race. Now, I have lost a race on this bike because of a wheelie. Yes, that has happened, but it wasn't a crazy wheelie. It was just, all right, I'm just off the throttle for a little too long and trying to get back on it because you don't know sometimes. You don't know how bad the wheelie's gonna be. Let's go. Chain maintenance, probably the same on sport bikes. I clean it every 500 to 600 miles, but that's a Ducati, so I'll go to my Road King. All right, so Doomsday, that's a lot of cleaning. That's a lot of cleaning because 500 to 600 miles, you know, I might go 1,500 miles. I might go when I get my oil change, you know. That might be a way to keep it documented. I changed it, you know, I changed my oil and I did my maintenance on my chain as well. What's up, dog? Oklahoma in the house. Oklahoma has some fast cars out there, man. Listen, I used to be into racing cars back in the day, and you just know, you know, listen, Oklahoma guys will bring a car that don't look like much of nothing, and that thing will hit the bumper, you know. But then they do throw some money at their cars too. What's up, brother? So, what type of tire am I running? It's a Shinko. Yes, it is a Shinko, and I don't recommend that tire. By all means, I don't recommend it. Unless you're drag racing on the street. And even at the track, I wouldn't recommend the Shinko. There's other guys out there that'll run a Shinko on the street, on the track, and have no idea how a Shinko actually works. They think you just put it on, drop some tire pressure, and go ride it. That is not how a Shinko works. A Shinko is set up for the bike. Different bikes like different tire pressure when you're using a Shinko. This bike likes 35 pounds of pressure. And I bet you guys don't believe me, but I can take this bike and run about 20 PSI and it loves it. But I could take my sport bike, my last bike, and it didn't have the torque that either one of these bikes had, but I would have to run it at 12 PSI, or it's gonna spin all the way down the street, or all the way down the road, all the way down the track. You can shift gears, it's still gonna keep spinning. Too much or too little tire pressure, you're going to be on a wheelie machine. All right, and that's just that. Have you gone deer hunting yet? Mike Anderson, yes, I did, and I got nothing. I went out, I saw a bunch of deer. But I said to myself, my new rifle has to get something good for its first go round. I got another rifle that I've killed so many deer with, and I might not want to use that word, that I've harvested so many deer with, that every time it goes out, I know I'm going to see something. I'm going to see something that I'm going to like. It's just a matter of, can I get my shot off and get to it with that gun? But it just has luck like that. But this gun didn't have that type of luck. Hopefully, a little later on, maybe later on this year, towards the end of this year, maybe next month, beginning of 2025, January, somewhere around there, I might get another chance to go out and get at me a deer. Now, we got a lot of hogs down here. Now, I can go out west into the Everglades and shoot at a hog, but it doesn't make sense. Not for this gun, man. The gun's too expensive. The gun's too, the setup is crazy. I'd rather have something that I can mount with this one. Notice I don't have anything mounted. When I shoot the deer I want, he will be mounted. What else we got? We got a few people in here. Keep them coming, guys. Tag your buddies. Tell your buddies we're going live. I don't just need the vultures in here watching and trying to figure out things. My highlights. I'm going to do a video on that, guys. Video coming this week. I know I didn't do a video this week, but I'm on vacation. So, video of the buy highlights. Only guys that are in here get to kind of check this stuff out. You're going to get the exclusive. And I did something else to this bike that I'll show you guys a video of that too. But I like the bar highlights, man. Super bright. I'm not going to turn them on right now. It'll blur out and blow out the whole camera and everything. But take my word for it. If you don't have bar highlights, first of all, they're expensive. But second of all, you have to make sure there's no laws that say you can't have so bright of a light in your area because they're super, super bright. And I got, all of them are just a lens change, but that yellow does the deal. But back to it. Greg Ramos, what's happening, bro? Kevin McDaniel said, Mac, that snake venom is looking awesome. Love the color. Can I say something, man? And I'm not tooting my own horn. I think it's the best looking snake venom that I've seen. I've seen a lot. Their paint jobs or how they maintain their bikes does not compete or compare to this bike. Now, I know the camera is probably not picking it up, but since this bike was ceramic coated and everything like that, it's just like got an extra pop to it. You can tell the difference between this bike and any other one. And the one on the side, it doesn't even it's this bike, it looks crazy. I've been offered money for this bike and I've turned people down because I'm just like, man, I don't even have to ride this bike, but it's just a piece in the garage that, I don't want to get rid of. So let's go. What we got? Greg Ramos, Mac, I got a question. Go ahead and ask your question, my brother. Excuse me. John Thigpen, you know how I sum up all of the questions? Tell him to look at the video of the guys that you beat. Then he came to your guys. Why are we bringing this in here? Guys, you can read that on your own. I'm coming with peace, not war. John, don't come in here with that. But hey, it is what it is. I mean, listen, guys. I'm changing the subject. 170 horsepower is good ride around horsepower. I think it's at the top. I think you shouldn't go any further with trying to make this bike do distance. It's a comfortable bike. It's a strong bike. It does everything you want it to do. It's a highway bully. Guys, I can run this bike from the back of the pack of 20 guys and shoot all the way up to the front of the pack and lead the pack myself and make those guys, ride a little harder. That's what I mean by a highway bully. I mean, hey, we're at the point where we want to be, we want to be the dog. I know some guys will build a bike like that and try and go race it, and it'll do decent, but it's a class. You know what I mean? It's a middle class bike. It's not a heavyweight. It's not like the big dogs when they're showing up to events and whooping a lot of bikes. That's not what's going on here, but it will hold its own, and especially in the street. It's decent, but this bike has not been set up for the street. Guys, you got to realize that you change suspension, you do everything a little bit different when you know you're going to go racing and then when you know you're just going to go riding. This bike has been set up for 2 up. All right, let me get back in here. And let's see. How's the truck running? The truck runs good. Matter of fact, I just put a whole new suspension on my truck, man, which is like crazy. But it rides like a Cadillac now that I put a whole new suspension on it. I guess Dodge, or can't even call it Dodge anymore. The Ram has like, between their transmissions and their suspensions, everything else is flawless, but you just got to make sure you know what you're buying. You know what I mean? All right, anyways, moving right along. The new 117, can you please tell me if this is the one you can do the 130? I'm pretty sure that you can. You have to reach out to George at allamericancycles to kind of figure out what direction he's going in. Remember, he's the one that's doing a trial and error with these things. I wouldn't just tell you to go out and put a big bore kit in it and just have a guy tune it and say, oh, you're going to have, a super fast bike. Horsepower means nothing. Horsepower means nothing, guys. Trust and believe when I say that. Hey, they know you know TV. What's happening, bro? Yeah, man, you see the King. Yeah, we just put the Baja lights and stuff on it, man. I got to keep them guessing with that thing, man. I can't stop pumping money into it, though. I got to get like you, man. I got to get like you. So anyways, guys, so Greg Ramos said, do the flywheel. Greg, I don't tell everything, man. I don't tell everything. But this bike doesn't, this bike is just, my little kick around bike, man. You know, nothing major. Yeah, reach out to George about the 130 on the new 117s. Reach out to him. The handlebar details on the King. These are 18-inch mini pullbacks. Now, let me explain something before we start to before I start pushing anybody's product, guys. You got to realize, if I don't like the product or if I'm not sure about the product, I will not push it. There's a lot of companies you can go to for handlebars, but give me a little bit more time. Give me a little bit. Let me get a little bit more aggressive with this bike to make sure I'll say, okay, these handlebars are for you. Because if they start moving, these are not the handlebars for you. Yes, they might look good and they are very comfortable. I can sit back like I'm in a car, right? Let me see if you guys can see. I can sit back and I'm riding like this. You know, it's a very easy, comfortable ride. But I have not had I don't want the opportunity, but I've not had to brake really hard and brace with these handlebars. These I know for sure, because when I run through a quarter mile, sometimes I'm getting on the brakes pretty hard, no movement. These, I don't know, because they're a lot taller and there might just be flex. You never know. But if they move and they're on a Road King, which the bolts are it's bolted down a little bit different than a Road Glide. So give me a little time. This guy does not have a website. He doesn't even have a Instagram. I had to call him and I got the number from somebody else through somebody else. You know, it was one of those types of deals. So I'd hate to kind of like put that on you guys to kind of like make you go out and buy these bars. But give me a little bit longer and I'll hit me on Real Official Mac on Instagram. If you're in here, please go ahead and like. What else we got? Okay. 2019 Road Glide CVO had a death wobble. Yes, tighten the neck bearing. I've changed the front wheel, engine mounts, bushings. I added polyurethane bushings. It helped a lot. Yes, tighten the neck bearing. Keep tightening it. Take the bike out and run it hard. How many more mile per hour can you go if you take the speed limit off of a 21 Road Glide Special? I don't even know what they top out at. But if you saying they top out at 110, 112, 115, I've seen guys take these bikes to 150. Easy. They probably could have kept going. It's all about the gearing with some of these bikes though. DHJ, you should do a video on how to roll race. Okay. How to prep your tire, how to set up. You know what? I'll do it just because you said it. I'm going to teach you a few things. I sure hate to do it because I don't want anybody going out there and trying it and hurting themselves, but I'll see what I'll figure out. Which tuner? Thundermax, TTS, or Power Vision? You can't see him, huh? Hold on. I'll be right back. Hold on. I'm coming right back. Let me do some moving around here. All right. You asked for it. Both bikes, this is all I run on both bikes. This is all I run, and this is probably all I will run. Let me get close. Make sure you guys can see it. All right, so yeah. DynoJet Power Vision. I run the screens on both bikes. I have everything for it. I like it, man. I could go between the tunes if I want. If I want to do some different type of fuel, it's easy. You know, my E85 and my 93 fuel is just that easy. It takes me, you know, a few minutes at the gas station. You know what I mean? So that's all I'm gonna use. Let's go. Check your neck bearing. Yep, tuner. So he said, Doomsday, you needed Super Duty. Listen, you want to know something? Go to my Instagram. I've owned what was that, a 2006 Power Stroke, okay? It was a dually, 24s, painted, satellite, crazy truck, crazy. Air ride in the back. Truck had everything. Truck was as big, like the front, like the driver and passenger, like you couldn't even touch the passenger. That's how big the truck is. And in the back seat is like a lounge, right? Worst truck I ever owned. It was a 6.0, 6 blow, 6.0 and go and blow. That's what they used to call it, 6.0 blow. Then I got a 15 F250 Platinum. The 6.0 what is the saddle leather one called? A King Ranch. So I had a King Ranch. Then I went to the Platinum. They're all on my page. And it was a good truck, but I could feel that the turbo was going out. So before I had the check, man, but I had a big tuner and all that crazy stuff. Easy link, all that BS. Got rid of that truck. They gave me more money for that truck than I probably paid for it. And I went out and bought the Ram 2500. Probably the best decision I've ever made. I got a whole story about that, but maybe for another day. So no more Super Duties for me, even though that's my favorite truck. Yeah, I said it. The fastest and usually the prettiest, and they always have the most technology in their trucks, but I can't do it again. Too many what was it, the fuel pump? Oh, God, nope. Keep going. Let's see. Thanks, Mac. Asked George to join Sundays. You know what? I'm going to get George on here one of these Sundays. Great. It's Monday afternoon in Australia. Monday afternoon? All right. Damn, mate, you down under. Maggie raises Australia. Okay. Yeah, pussies. Free smoke. I spoke to you before. Upgrading the 22 roadglide ST. Was offered $2,000 over. The amount owed, found a used 23 and okay, for $30K with 5,000 miles on it. CV over Raven for $38K. Which do you recommend? Okay, hold on. Let me read that a little slower. Either the 24 ST, CVO ST, or the 23 and a half CVO. Now, I'm gonna come back to that question because I got a lot to say. What about the apes? You seem to be a racer out there. What about APE? They seems to be racers out there. I'm not understanding what you're trying to ask me. That one guy to DHA, crazy to hear that. You say that, all right, some crazy builds out there. Okay. Can you do a two-step with the DynoJet tuner? No. Not on the older bikes. Remember, I don't know yet on the newer bikes because I don't think they make the power vision for it yet. In my opinion, is the two-step worth it? Absolutely not. If you can't control your bike and feel where you need to launch it at, because it's not going to work on different surfaces. One surface might work by luck, and then on another surface, it absolutely won't work. No point in having it. I know a lot of guys on street bikes run it. I was going to put a two-step on my street bike, but it was as long as a tractor trailer. So I don't have an issue about it hooking or wheeling or doing anything crazy. One mistake when launching with a two-step, race is over. Ta-da! I mean, there's really, in my opinion, you know, it's like for shits and giggles. Okay, it really won't mean much to somebody who's racing. That's what that means. That's it. If you know anything about racing, you know what I'm talking about. How to pull up to a race and prep your bike and take off, dude. You can do a massive video. Nobody's done that. I got it just for you, bro. I got it just for you. I say that I work here in the rail yard here at the truck plant where all the trucks are built. Oh, okay. Oh, you work on Fords? Jesus Christ. Hey, they make a beautiful truck. You can't beat it. Can't. There's not. When they came out with the massaging seats and all that crazy mess, I guess one of the engineers from Ford came over to Dodge, and then I was sold. I was just waiting on somebody to help. Dodge always made an ugly truck. All right, thanks for your time answering questions, man. Yeah, no problem, man. Impact is the way to go for the 24 models, which is true. Impact at this point is definitely the way to go because they have everything. I'm gonna do that video, man. Let's see if the vultures are in here and they might try and steal it before I can do it. All right. What else we got, guys? What else we got? All right, I'm getting off here. Mike Anderson, hey, have a good one, man. Watch some football. Finish off that Thanksgiving dinner. We have crazy cars out of 1,000 horsepower burnout and drag cars, but as far as bike, weak as piss. I mean, that's just because it's just coming around to getting very popular. You know, it's not always been very popular to race Harleys. Harleys were never known for, you know, being fast. They were known for sounding good, looking good, and then some guy said, hey, I need some more power because this shit stinks. And then it just started little by little. Once I showed guys that we race sport bikes with our Harleys, it changed the game completely. Guys, I don't know, like sometimes I just sit back and watch, like now you guys are doing this and now. There was a video out there by this guy, and he said, you know, you guys are putting too much power in these Harleys. It's no need for all this power on a Harley. And then all of a sudden, full circle, you know, now everybody wants horsepower. Then they said, E85 is gonna blow up your bike. Oh, you're ridiculous for adding E85. You can't do that. Full circle. All those guys came right back around. How do I run E85 Mac? What injectors do I need? How do I get it? Hey, listen. I'm not saying I'm the leader or the trendsetter, but I do know that when I say something, it's usually gonna be gold, and it just takes people to go around and hear it from all these other people, and then get back around, and they're like, oh, you were absolutely right. Just keep watching. Just keep watching. So the whole topic of the day was, all right, guys, big motorbikes, big boy kits, your average everyday rider. So we had the stage 1, stage 2 guy. He's a daily rider. He's just a cruiser. You had the big boy kit guys, which is your weekend warriors, and then you have your racers. You know, your bigger bikes, a lot of money dumped into them. Which one is good for you? Which one is too much? How much horsepower do you think you really need? I know everybody wants to be reliable and have reliable horsepower, but there's guys out there that have sold the dream that having all this big boy kit and getting it built and done like this and done like that, you never see those bikes anymore. You never see them. It's almost like they're scared to either ride them, or they found out that they made a mistake, and then it's like, all right, what do I do now? Where's my channel? Where is my channel gonna go now? Because now what started my channel can't sustain if I show them that I messed up somewhere. So watch this. Don't worry, guys. It's gonna be a quickie. Don't you worry. So if anybody ever says, oh, Mac, your bike's probably broke. It's just sitting over there in the corner. No, man. My baby's ready to rock and roll 7 days a week. Mac, I need a t-shirt so I can represent down there in Texas. I'll hit you up on Instagram. Good job. Hey, I just sold somebody a t-shirt today. Guys, when I took that ride, I gave away t-shirts. If you come on a ride with me and I have shirts, I'm giving them out. Hopefully this next ride at the end of the month will be just as good. Giving out t-shirts. I want everybody to be able to rock out, man. Show the love and support, and there you go. So, Ben Street Racing, Harley Davidson's 07, straight off of Boosa. 51 Mo. Yes, Mo, I do understand, you know, but you know, if you've been racing that long, how much different these bikes are from those bikes. You know, you probably said back then a 110 was, you know, was a quick bike, probably a fast bike, and it just took so much. But you weren't keeping up with street bikes back then. You know what I mean? This is the era where it's like, okay, you got a 200 horsepower street bike, or if it has anything less, he's dead meat. He's dead meat. I mean, I'm going to tell you that right now. If you sit a 170 horsepower, 180, a lot of them come with that kind of horsepower, and an 1/8 mile, this bike is going to punch you in the mouth. You know, but that's just what it is. Anyways, moving right along. And I work in the yard with the CSX and the TSI. Oh, okay. Y'all load the trucks. Okay, I got you. Speaking of, Um, I'm going to start taking some trips, guys. Tell me how you feel about this. Tell me how you feel. I want to go to Sturgis, you know, but I know Sturgis, you have to prep like months in advance for Sturgis. I'm going to get back to these videos. You have to prep in months for advance for Sturgis. I plan on putting my bike on the train, taking the ride, dropping off, doing my thing, back on the train and coming home. The rest of that, you know, is trailering and, you know, it's, for me, I don't have the time. But I want to enjoy the event. So is that a good idea at the end of the day? I think it is. I know people that have done it. I found out through them. So, you know, just let me know. But back again, is it too much power for the streets? Is some of these bikes, you know, with these big bore kits, can they take those long miles and, you know, travel and do all those other things? Yes, there's a limit to everything though. Don't let anybody sell you on, oh, well, 160 horsepower is not reliable, because that's far from the truth. It's the furthest from the truth. This bike used to sit with 160 horsepower and where I would ride it anywhere. The hours are what, the hours on the bike, the miles on the bike. I would use that to say, hey, this bike can go from here to wherever, because most of my trips that I would take on this bike are only 3.5 hours. So 3.5 hours one way, 3.5 hours this way. Now this bike gets the 3.5 hours this way, 3.5 hours this way. Next weekend, 2.5 hours this way, 2.5 hours back. Does that mean that this bike can't take trips? Does this mean that this bike can't take trips? There's certain things about this bike that don't allow it to take trips. It burns gas way too fast. It is aggressive every time you get on the bike. There's no chill on this bike. I'm not saying it because I say this bike, oh, it's so fast. No. It's just no chill on this bike. And this bike is quick. It has a chill mode. It definitely does. It can get out there and run hard, but it definitely is night and day difference between the two. So if you guys are saying, hey, I want to step my game up from the stage 2. If you're going stage 3, just make it a stage 4 and be done. The difference in the reliability is this much. What I will say, the bigger you go, which is more compression as well, lowers the reliability. There's a happy medium. Some guys dump you and will dump you into, like, you know, this big motor with little horsepower just because they can sell you on a big motor with less horsepower, because they know that I don't have to worry about this guy's bike breaking down because we're not really pushing it for power. I didn't go after power with this bike. I mean, what am I probably off? 2, 3, maybe 5 at the most? Who cares? And you'll never notice it. The dyno junkies are the only people that care, okay? Don't be a dyno junkie, because it doesn't matter anyway. Let's see what else we got, guys. Don't forget, like this live. I'll keep these lives going as long as I can see that there's people interested. And it's usually by day 2 when I see the views jump up on the live. So I'll go over another guy's question. He said either the 23.5 CVO with the VVT or the 24 CVO ST. The difference is, I think, about $8,000 if I can recall, and I'm gonna scroll back up real quick, guys. Yeah, it's like $8,000 difference. I don't know if the 24 has any miles on it, but it's only 38,000. That's around the going price for those bikes now, guys, so don't go out there and get, you know, conned out of it. But the 23.5 CVOs, in my opinion, aren't doing that good. Something happened. I don't know what happened. Maybe they released 2 bikes too soon or too close together. But that CVO with the VVT isn't doing that good. The ST, you know, you got guys caught in the middle of these 2 bikes. Poor planning by Harley, my opinion. But CVO ST, in my opinion, by far. There's going to be some questions why. But the biggest thing for me, I think that Harley gives you a little bit more leeway to go fast without spending as much money on the CVOST. That's my selling point. It's a good looking bike. There's nothing to take away from either one of these bikes. I don't say one can outdo the other, but I can say that if Harley puts things out, it's going to be geared towards the CVOST, and I mean, just more parts are going to be available for it. The VVT at this point, in my opinion, you know, VVT is used in a lot of cars, sport bikes. You know, we know that works, but it's not easy to make it work when you want to go aftermarket. A lot of these guys were just using the VVT setup to run in a stock configuration, tune it, put exhaust on, and go fast. Yes, but then there's a point where you want to go a little bit faster than that, and then the VVT, the cams are not, the VVT cam is not the most efficient. That's my opinion. Could I be wrong? But there's much chance of me being wrong. I said from the very beginning, I said, hey, the VVT is going to be crazy. It's going to be good for the guy that doesn't want to go big. So right off the showroom floor, you take that bike out, it's going to be extremely quick. But then they turned around and introduced the model without the VVT for a reason. Ta-da! I must have been right somewhere. So, all right. Let's go. Sturgis hotels are basically gone already. Oh my God. You're gonna have to go to the campground, but I'll be in Milwaukee for the homecoming next year. If you guys are YouTubers, chime in. Go ahead and like this video as well, man. If you're lurking in the background and you don't want to speak to me, it's okay. I'm not gonna call your names. We're still friends. Everybody's my friend when we're in public. It's just not my friend online. I don't know what's that all about. Anyways, just starts quickest YouTuber bike up randomly. Hey, the bike, I don't know if you could hear it and how it sounded, but I didn't want to kill myself with the fumes. I got the garage crack. This shit is fucking stupid. It's a stupid bike. Said he likes the amber headlights. Oh, okay. Baja Designs video coming this week. There's a couple videos coming, guys. I do a lot of my Chip, leave Kenneth alone, man. I do a lot of my things with the shop, and I don't put the videos out right away. I like to let all these other guys out there put their videos out before they can kind of like try and duplicate what I'm doing. Guys, I'll repeat this again. Like this live. On a side note to that, the question of the day was, the topic of discussion was, we have the daily rider guy, stage 1, stage 2. What's too much power? The weekend warrior, the average big bore kit, the 150 horsepower, 150 foot-pound of torque, that guy, maybe 160, that guy. And then you have the racers, the big guys. Can they even ride those bikes on the street? Can those fast bikes be ridden on the street? Some can, some can't. Are they comfortable? I don't really guess they will be. We tried to make this bike the wolf in sheep's clothing by being able to really ride and enjoy the bike on the streets. But for the guy controlling it, you understand that when the RPMs hit 2,000 RPMs, this bike is just ready to pull your arms off. This bike has a chill button on it. You can ride it. It knows when you hit 3,000 RPMs and you are gunning it, you're giving it wide open, that's when that bike comes alive. That's the big bore kit, the weekend warrior guy, that's his class. This is the racer's class. I don't have a stage 1, stage 2 bike. Maybe we'll talk about the Sportster. But do those guys get bored with their horsepower? Do you then need to run and go big bore kit? You know, it just all depends on who you are, how you ride. That's why I said, you know, the daily riders, the long distance guys, he's doing stage 1, stage 2, because he doesn't believe in the reliability of a big bore kit, trying to take him from state to state. Well, you get your bike built right, And if you get your bike built right by the right person, you got no problems. Now, somebody just said in here, he says, 2147 crew here in Houston stays on his bike daily. I explained, if you have a turbo bike, it's not as rough or aggressive to ride it until the boost kicks in, then that bike comes alive. Well, when you got an all-motor bike with just as much power, that bike is gonna be on kill as soon as you start it up. There's a big difference there. You know, he can ease out the clutch and he can probably cruise that bike around, but some bikes don't like to be cruised. This bike particularly, it has a certain spot where it's like, all right, you keep touching a certain RPM and I'm gonna show you who's boss. I'm not saying it because it's my bike. I'm saying it because that's how those bikes are. Racing bikes and chill mode bikes are you know, totally different. But in my opinion, I mean, if you were to go out and get you something and you felt like I only needed to do it once, I would always say go big bore kit, and that's if you can't get a hell of a stage 2. I say go big bore kit, go all the way out on a big bore kit, you know, do your heads, don't just do a stage 3. You'll always wonder what that extra horsepower would feel like, because sometimes we've seen between 10, 15 horsepower between them, you know what I mean? Between having the heads and not having the heads. That's not something that you could just go to the store and say, swipe your card, give me the heads and put it on my bike. No. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. You really got to have the recipe to get those guys to build you something reliable. I think I can still ride this bike anywhere. I'm sure I can. I've ridden it. You know, and that's my daily driver, but it's a hell of a daily driver. Ask your questions. I'm answering questions. I got a few more minutes and I got to get up out of here. A pimp named Sir Slickback. What's happening, bro? Let's go. All right, so Matt Moonshiner 120R says daily rider 150 with good power curve. The race bike, high revs, longer shift points. Let me see. Yeah, that's about right. That's about right. I mean, if you catch a guy with a lot of power and your bike has sweet spot power, like it's right where it needs to be and is right to the next gear, and when he shifts, it just looks like the separation is starting to happen, and then he has to come back because his bike has, you know, just killer power up top. He's absolutely right. I've seen it happen. I've done it to people where I know they have more than me, or on the flip side, I know I have more than them, and the race will look a certain way. If I have a bike with less power, I can throw the clutch, slam the gas, and I will have no bad effects. It won't wheelie, it won't spin, it's just like all in the sweet spot, and I'm just going through the gears. Beep, 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 beep. And then, you know, that big motorbike just drives right around me. I've had that happen to me, and I'm talking race bike talk. I mean, not race bike talk, I'm sorry. I'm talking about a lot of sport bike talk. These bikes have had races, but they've all pretty much kind of fared. Harleys don't fare that differently when you race them. There's not like you're coming back around somebody. That shit don't happen that often. But I remember specifically, shout out to RDP, okay? That's the club. I can't think of his riding name off the top of my head. But Eddie, if you out there, you know what I'm talking about. Short story, guys, just because y'all in here and y'all paying me some attention. I'm out at the drag strip. This was years ago. Eddie, please be on here. Or if somebody knows Eddie and RGP and who I'm talking about, he can vouch for this story. I go out to the track. I'm probably one of the baddest mofos at the track. The bike was, okay? I'm looking for a race. I can't get a race. I find a group of guys with a group of big tire bikes. I have a Gixxer 1000. Motherfucker was probably as long as a Cadillac. But I needed to get down. I needed a race before the night is over. And I'm not racing anybody for free. That's my motto. I go over to those guys. I'm like, hey, y'all want to race? They're like, we don't really want to race, but we got a bike that we can race you with. Because they kept trying to put these like tires on the back of these bikes were like this. The back tires look like this, but the bike I race tire looked like that. Square slick, 7-inch square. I remember this like it was yesterday. I go look at the bike. I forgot what they called it. And they had a young kid that was about to ride it. I'm like, ain't no way in God's green earth. And they told me they were going to give me the brake. You told me you're going to give me the brake. My bike is a small motor, nitrous bike, runs like a bat out of hell. You can't catch me if you gave me the brake. Well, I had a pit crew at the same time. Pit crew, get the bike ready. We're about to go whoop some ass. Let's get up this money. Boom, 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 right? So, pit crew puts the bike together. I say, hey, let me make a test hit on my bike. Then we're ready to rock and roll. I make a test hit on the bike. Didn't feel right, but I'm like, it's usually like that because if they don't warm the bottle up, the smack from the nitrous does not come in very hard. So we go back, we warm the bottle up some more. Let's see the pressure's up. Perfect. You get in your lane, I get on my lane. I steal him. The light doesn't even go green yet. I take off and I see him chase. And I'm out there. And he passes me just as we cross the line. The only race I think I've ever taken on that bike. And the nitrous never came on my bike. When my pit crew took the front cowling off to do whatever they had to do, I don't remember what they did. They never plugged the nitrous switch back into the front. It was one of those catalyst empty fronts. Lose the race, lose the money, lose your ride. Remember that show? So that's what that was. And that's where you could see something like that happening. It doesn't happen like that. Once a bike is out in front of you, it's usually going to stay there. But hey, just race talk, man. It's all what it is. It's all race talk. But anyways, moving right along, let's see what we got. Chip, stop picking on people, man. Kenneth has a fast bike, man. Hey, Chip don't care. That one guy, I'm new to bikes. Can you water cool any Harley or no? I definitely heard stories how high temps can get. Yes. They have to come water cooled though. Like the new bikes come with a little radiator. The older limiteds come with a radiator. Other than that, we can put oil coolers. I have oil coolers on the back of these bikes. I don't know if you can see it. It's down up under here. Mine is a custom one. I don't run like the ultra cool that they keep up here and all that stuff. That's probably the only thing that's gonna kind of keep you cool. The rest of it is you need to know what you're doing with your bike. Don't sit it in traffic for too long without shutting her down. Air cooled, don't forget. Let's see. Yeah, it's water cooled stage 2 heads from Ward Performance. Yeah, it's a water cool with stage 2 heads from Ward Performance. All right, I don't know where that conversation is. Let's see what else. When are you making a how-to race video? I'm gonna be waiting, bro. Cheers. And, all right, man. Hey, have a good night. What all would you guys want to see in a how-to video? Do I actually need to have the bike in the road, at a race spot? Do you guys need me to just go through the full thing of how I prep for my race? Because a lot of us prep the same way. I think I can do that. I just gotta find a quiet night on one of these, you know, my local racetracks, and I can make it happen. Yeah, I can make it happen, guys. I can make it happen. But I never wanted to do it because it's almost like I'm teaching you to go out and hurt yourself. So I have to put a disclaimer. Do not try it. Do not try it. I might post my video tonight of me making a lick on the bike. I'll let you see how the bike runs. I probably won't run the bike because it's not every night that I can go out there. But I'll take a bike out and I'll put it in the situation. Like if it was going to, I might have to do something like that, man. I mean, that's something you can't always do. But guys, I think I'm gonna go ahead and cut this live here. I hope I got all your guys' questions in. Be prepared to hear the same story from somebody else about the topic of conversation. By highlights video coming this week. Got some other stuff coming, guys. I like to hold on to it and not let it go yet, but I think I'm gonna go ahead and drop it. If you got questions, you want shirts, everything like that, Real Official Mac on Instagram. Don't forget to like this live. Suspension setup, legends all around both bikes. But guys, until the next time, I appreciate you for watching, joining, and subscribing. Peace.